Good morning, y'all. Welcome to my first MMA predictions video. This is gonna be a bit out of the ordinary. I haven't done this before, and we're just gonna see where this takes me. I haven't rehearsed any of this, and I don't really plan on editing this because it's just my first time, and I want to, get a general feel for things. So we're just gonna go ahead and jump straight in. This is Blanchfield versus Barber, and it's gonna be coming up this Saturday. I've looked at it, and it's pretty good, decent Apex card. It's just your average Apex card. When it comes to star power and certain other fights. So we're just gonna go ahead and get straight into it. Um, so first we got Rayan dos Santos versus Alice Ardelin. Now, and I say this like, please, come on. Whoever loses this, like, you got to cut from the UFC, Dana. Like, come on, this is just, I get that they're women, and like, you got to fill the roster for some of the women fighters, but man, I mean, it's just, you know, for this one, I'm gonna go with Rayan dos Santos. I think her losses compared to Alice Ardelin are just, you know, are slightly better, more impressive, and a lot more close. I think at least Ardeline just tends to get um, like easily outscored, outpointed. So we're gonna go ahead and go with Rayon dos Santos for our opening prelim. I'm not gonna spend too much time on that one. Up next, we got this fight got canceled a little bit ago. Now it's gonna be Balaji Oki versus Michael Aswell. And for that fight, I think that Balaji Oki does it. Michael Aswell is pretty good. He had a good contender series bout against Bogdan Grad. I watched it. I actually thought it was pretty close, and it's pretty impressive to see the achievements that Bogdan Grad has earned. His last fight, Bogdan's last fight, he actually got a knockout over a good fighter, Lucas Alexander, I think it was. So I mean, he's doing pretty well, but I still think that short notice, Balaji Oki still had some pretty good competition. He fought against Chris Duncan, I think that was his last fight. And Chris Duncan's really good. Chris Duncan impressed all of us thoroughly, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with Balaji Oki by. I'm gonna go ahead and say unanimous decision. He's pretty durable. Michael Aswell is pretty durable. Excuse me. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna go with Balaji Oki. Okay, now Andreas Gustafsson versus Trevin Giles. This one's interesting too. I've been interested to see what Andreas Gustafsson can do in the main UFC roster. His last fight was kind of interesting. The commentators were, pretty much riding him and praising him that whole entire time, like saying, "Oh, he's going to war," and he just came to go to war. But no, he really just like clinched his opponent, who I'm gonna add, his opponent is literally 36 years old, and I'm not like, some fighters' age isn't really a big issue when it comes to certain things, but like, come on, man, you clinched this one guy the entire time. I mean, he landed like knees and elbows and stuff, but that's not going to war, man. Come on, and so he fought Pat Pitlick, right? And he just looked pretty average against him, not too impressive. I mean, people will hold him in high regard, but I mean, I don't really think that fight really showcased anything. Trevin Giles, he's actually pretty decent. He's proved himself a lot. He's fought really good competition. He even beat, if I'm correct, he beat Roman Dolidze at one point, which is really good. Um, I'm gonna go ahead. You know what? Screw it, man. I'm gonna go ahead and say Trevin Giles wins this fight by like 29-28 decision. Like, I like the way he circles, and I just think that's. I don't think Andreas is going to be able to. Yeah, he might have a good first round, and with the clinch, but I don't really see him fulfilling that. within the full, 3 rounds. I mean, it's just against an experienced guy like Trevin Giles, who's fought loads of good competition. No, I'm going to go with Trevin Giles, man. We're going to say Trevin Giles wins this fight by unanimous decision or split, give or take. Up next, we got Kurt Holloway. Or, excuse me, we got Jordan Levitt versus Kurt Holloway. I'm going to go with Jordan Levitt, like Kurt Holloway. I mean, what? Come on now. He just kind of exists. He's one of those guys from that one season of The Ultimate Fighter who just fought mids. Who did he beat? He beat Austin Hubbard to get to the UFC, and he had a close fight with Kenan Koszczewski. Like, and then he's going against Jordan Levitt, who's lost to straight killers. He lost to Patty Pimblett, and he lost to some other person who I forget. He lost to Chase Hooper, yeah. Most recently, he lost to Chase Hooper, who's a really good grappler. Jordan Levitt's a good grappler himself, so I mean, you know what? I'm gonna go Jordan Levitt by like a rear naked choke in the second round. I'm gonna say second because Kurt Holloway is actually pretty durable. He's known for going the distance, but I don't think he's gonna go I don't think he's gonna go to the distance with Jordan Levitt. I'm telling you. So I'm gonna go with Jordan Levitt by submission in the second round. For our next bout, we got Alan Nascimento versus Jafel Filio. This one's tough, man. Let me tell you. This one is tough. Man. See, now, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and, expand our viewing here. Jafel Filio, man. He is, just look at that, man. He beat Amir Albazi in his last fight, or his last grappling bout. And then the 2 fights before that, he beat Ode Osborne and Daniel Perez. And if I remember, Daniel Perez was like piecing him up pretty bad. Like, Daniel Perez was beating him up pretty bad. And then, he came back with that arm triangle choke. That was a pretty good win. Then he like absolutely dominated Ode Osborne. That was impressive too. And Ode Osborne's no easy like stepping stone, man. But then his only loss so far in the UFC was to Muhammad Mokaev. Like, that's not a bad look for Jafel Filio, man. That's not a bad look. Sure, his past losses in the Brazilian circuit have kind of looked a little, But, I mean, when you're only losing to, in round 3, man, he almost took it to a decision. When you're only losing bouts like that, it doesn't look that bad. Like, and these are your wins too? I mean, come on, man. That's pretty stacked. And now let's look at Alan Nascimento's record. Prepare yourselves. So, okay. Now, don't let this right here, don't let a split decision to Holly and Paiva deceive you, okay? Don't let a split... I mean, you probably aren't even deceived by this split decision to Tagir Ulanbekov. This guy's really good. See, here's the thing, and I'm going to show you this real quickly. Look when his last fight was. 2 years ago, man. I barely even remember watching that card, man. I did watch this card. It was Strickland versus Imavov. But, I mean, it was that long ago, man. If this was maybe a year ago or something, I would go with an Alan Nascimento because he's still very good. But, man, it's just, consistency is key in this game. Consistency is key. I'm going to go with Jafel Filio. And I'm going to say unanimous decision because this guy's grappling is pretty good. I don't see him just getting submitted that easily, but, I mean, I see this dude controlling Alan Nascimento. So, I mean, in my opinion, Jafel Filio, if he kept on doing what he was doing, he could be like literally a top 10 flyweight. Some of y'all are going to, come at me for that one, but I'm just saying, trust in Jafel Filio, man. He's really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with Jafel Filio. I'm sorry, Alan, but you're just kind of getting a little old. And yeah, I mean, like, you haven't fought. You got to keep fighting, bro. So, got to keep fighting, gang. This next fight we got here is Zach Reese versus Dusko Todorovic. Um, I mean, this one's kind of easy. I'm gonna go with Jack Reese or Zach Reese. I'm gonna go with Zach Reese. Sorry, the jitters, man. First time. Zach Reese is like, he's an anomaly, man. He is just, he lost his last fight to Azamat Bakoyev. And I was actually pretty surprised. I thought this guy was, I thought this guy was going to go in there with Azamat, who went life or death with um, Dylan Budka. Like, I thought Zach Reese was going to go and just prove a point, but nope, he got starched, got knocked out. I mean, and Azamat, he's clearly on roids. I'm just going to be honest with you. That Russian stuff, man, these USADA employees will never go down to Dagestan. They know what they're doing, man. So, or anywhere in Russia. Maybe I'm incorrect about Azamat being from Dagestan. He's probably somewhere else in Russia. But I just don't see Dusko doing anything against this guy. I'm telling you, look at this, man. Dusko, however you pronounce his name. I'm going to get better at pronouncing names, by the way. Um, I mean, yeah, he had a win against Michel Pereira. With that, hey, that's good. I mean, any win against Michel, however long it's been, that's decent. But like, people change over time. That was about 6 years ago. He's definitely changed. Lost to Christian Leroy Duncan, CLD, man. I mean, and his last fight against Mansour Abdul Malik, I remember watching that. He just looked defenseless, man. I mean, I refuse to believe Mansour, and I actually do like Mansour Abdul Malik, but I refuse to believe that Mansour Abdul Malik is like this immovable force that you can't fight back against, man. Come on now, you're better than that, man. So, and then Zach Reese. It's obviously clear that Zach Reese isn't like an extremely top tier middleweight, but he's definitely like, I'd say like top 30, honestly. He was I think he could have won that Cody Brundage fight, and he just I my hope for Zach Reese is that he's done some endurance training and some you know some sparring with guys who have heavier hands. He just doesn't really have the best like equilibrium. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that Zach Reese gets this done by like, we're gonna go KO, man. I don't trust Dusko Todorovic's chin. All right, that was my first sloppy pick. I'm sorry for that one. We're gonna forget about that one. But hey, trust. Zach Reese gets this done by second round TKO. We got Ketlin Vieira versus Macy Chiasson. Macy, man, as I said, man, consistency is key. She's going out there against really good fighters. Her last win, before I even pull it up, was against Mayra Bueno Silva. And Mayra, I don't care. Y'all can keep on trash talking Mayra all you want. I'm just saying, like, that's a good win. That's a good win right there. And this was a good win too. I mean, like, come on. She's got a really good build too for the weight class. Like, she's not as heavy as some of these people, and she has like some long arms. Like, she has a really good reach. So I'm gonna go ahead and honestly, she reminds me of the female fighter. She reminds me of a female Tony Ferguson, like prime Tony Ferguson, who she'll get you on the ground, man, and she'll find an easy way to just choke you. I'm saying, like, she'll find great ways to set up submissions. And then even when she stands up, she's utilizing those elbows, and it's a great look for her. I'll say that. I'm gonna go ahead and pick Macy Chiasson by unanimous decision. These women fights, you never really know with these women's fights. They don't really. I mean, well, it depends in this high of a level though. So I'm still gonna go with the unanimous decision route for Macy Chiasson. Up next, we got Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopez. Ooh. I think we're going to have to take a look at Bruno Lopez's record for a second. His last fight against Magomed Gadzhiesulov, he got a unanimous decision. Pretty much crotch sniffed this dude. Like, pretty much wet blanketed this man, Magomed. I was not really that impressed with this win right here. Got Magomed, he was undefeated before this, but he still didn't look good. He didn't look like a threat at all. And for him to just barely snatch a unanimous decision against somebody like Magomed Gadzhiesulov just doesn't convince me that he's going to get a win against Dustin Jacoby. Dustin Jacoby, I know he's a little bit out of it now. But at the same time, he's not, man. He's fought killers, man. He's fought killers in his career. His last loss was against his last win was against Vitor Petrino. That's a really good win. But then you see these results like Dominic Reyes, Alonzo Minifield. Like, you'll see that, and then you'll kind of feel like, oh, okay, this guy, Dustin, isn't really the guy who we used to know. But that's not true. Dustin had a really good knockout against my man Vitor Petrino. And I'm talking a Jorge Masvidal, Kamaru Usman 2 style knockout. Like, straight right, and then same exact, everything. It's like he rehearsed it. I'm going to go ahead and go with Dustin Jacoby by round 1 TKO. All right? That's what I'm going to say. He's going to show experience, that he's been against straight killers throughout his entire career. Even fought Alex Pereira in the kickboxing circuit not too long ago, man. Well, that was, he was completely different back then. But we're going to go ahead and say that my man, Dustin Jacoby, wins this fight. And then up next, we got Ramiz Brahimaj versus Billy Ray Goff, man. Billy Ray Goff, man, he'll get hit a few times, but then he'll come back, right? He'll come back, no problem. And then you have Ramiz Brahimaj, who I'm not really too familiar with. I just got introduced to him last November when he knocked out Mickey Gall, who, if you haven't gotten rid of Mickey Gall yet, right? I feel, I feel for you. My grandma, she got rid of Mickey Gall. That's how easy it is to get rid of Mickey Gall. So, I'm going to go ahead and say that Billy Ray Goff gets this done by, I'm going to go ahead and say he gets it done by unanimous decision, man. I don't really trust his hands that much, or I don't trust his power that much, man. He doesn't really have too much pop to his shots, Sure, he's got maybe 1 or 2 TKOs in his career, but I don't know. I think he's Brahimaj. I forget where he's from. I think he's from. He's from somewhere. His family is from somewhere in the Middle East, right? He's got that Middle Eastern grit, so he's not going to go down that easily. I'm just going to say that Billy Ray Goff gets it done by unanimous decision. All right, co-main, we got Mateusz Gamrot versus Ludovic Klein. This one's very interesting, let me tell you that. I didn't see this co-main event coming, number 7 versus unranked, but here we are. Some people are going Klein, some people are going Gamrot. I'm going to go ahead and join the people that are saying Gamrot. Like I said, in MMA, you've got to fight some killers, man. You've got to fight some killers. Metallus Gamrot has fought killers. I can say that confidently. Fought in prime example of that. Fought Dan Hooker last fight. I thought he won that. Y'all can come after me. Damage is key. Damage is key. Which I have no problem with Dan Hooker winning. I could see him winning that, but I thought the judges would have picked Gamrot, right? In a fight where he, took a bit of a beating. He still had valuable control time within that fight. He took him down a lot. I just man, Gamrot. I just see Gamrot being able to overpower somebody like Ludovic Klein. He has 6 wins to his name, right? 6-fight win streak to his name. But look who it's against, man. Roosevelt Roberts. Yeah. Roosevelt Roberts. 29-28 decision. Roosevelt Roberts. Ugh. He beat Thiago Moises. Thiago Moises isn't good anymore. I'm just going to be more straightforward with this because I need to ease my way in. He beat AJ Cunningham. Okay, Ignacio, you know what? I'll give it to you for that. I'll give it to you for that Ignacio Bahamondes win. We all know how good Ignacio is. Drew with Jai Herbert. So, people will see this win streak and think he has a really good shot at this fight, which he does, but Mateusz Gamrot, man. Mateusz Gamrot, Rafael Dos Anjos, Fiziev, Jalen Turner, Armin Sarukian. You think this dude, Ludovic Klein, who will go in there and fight, no, man. I'm going to go ahead and go with Metallus Gamrot. I think in the first half of the fight, Ludovic's going to defend a lot of takedowns and land some pretty good leg shots. He's been shown to do that. He's been shown to utilize those leg strikes and fight. He kind of fights like Aldo sometimes, especially that fight against Shane Young. That was a really good look, but Mateusz, I think he's just going to be bigger. He's just going to be better. He's going to be stronger. He's going to get at least 10 takedowns in that fight and still do some damage. I think he's going to cut. I think he might cut open Ludovic Klein. So I'm going to go ahead and go with my man, Mateusz Gamrot, man. So, and I'm going to say unanimous decision, 30-26. Watch it happen. We got Aaron Blanchfield, right? We got Aaron Blanchfield versus Macy Barber. Consistency is key, man. I'm going Aaron Blanchfield. Macy Barber, last fight was a year ago against Caitlin Sermonara, a.k.a. Chukagian. Aaron Blanchfield is literally the Merab version. She is literally the female version of Merab. I'm going to work on my phrasing when it comes to this, but I'm going to go ahead and go with Aaron Blanchfield. I think she is going to be really good in this fight. I think, she does kind of worry me sometimes in the stand-up situations. She'll fight like a scared puppy dog and, make some whimpers when she throws some strikes, but it works, man. It works, dirty boxing. And Macy's got some pop to her shots for sure. Probably some of the most in that division. But man, I think Aaron's just gonna wear on Macy. I think she's just gonna wear on Macy. She's gonna start to lose energy as the fight goes on. And I think Aaron Blanchfield's gonna get a submission once she starts getting even more tired. and even more fatigued. I'm going to go ahead and say Erin Blanchfield gets this done by round four. Round four, okay? Round four submission. I think it's going to happen. Erin Blanchfield, she had a really good win in her last fight. Rose Namajunas, 5-rounder too. 5-rounder. I'm saying she went the distance on that one. Some people don't realize that was a 5-rounder. Has Macy Barber ever been in a 5-rounder? I don't think so. I don't think so. She hasn't. That's the answer for you. Macy Barber has only ever had 3-rounders, and she's even proved to be slightly fatigued. And Erin Blanchfield is an expert at making people fatigue. She proved that well against Talia Santos. Talia Santos is really good. You know, Rose Namajunas, that's another great example. Absolutely destroyed Molly McCann, which, you know, that's not what we used. It's not the same as what we used to think it was for Molly McCann. But I'm trying to think of somebody else. Erin. You know, I know that loss to Manon was a bit rough, but I think Manon's like the second best under the champion. I'm gonna go ahead and say that under Shevchenko. You know, there was even a solid argument that Manon won the last fight against Shevchenko. There's a lot. I mean, I don't think that's particularly bad for Erin to lose that fight right there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say Erin Blanchfield wins this fight right here, and we'll see what the future holds in store for Macy Barber afterwards. Still a really good fighter. I still would always tune in to see a little, you know, Macy. But yeah, so that's gonna be my predictions. This is my first prediction video. I know it was a bit rugged. I gotta start getting used to this. Start rehearsing it. Or no, fuck that. We're not gonna rehearse. We're just gonna go straight in. And yeah, yeah, I'm just gonna start slowly putting my way in when it comes to these prediction videos. But, you know, humble beginnings, man. So thank you all for watching this. Maybe I'll live stream some of it soon. Who knows? If y'all could consider subscribing, that'll be really helpful. Subscribe to my Instagram too, OutColdMMA. I also do pics over there. I've done them for a while actually on my Instagram. I just haven't done a full-on analysis, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and tune out. I will be back maybe for a tier list or for the next card, which is Sean O'Malley versus Merab. I'm looking forward to that one. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you.